iPad Pros offer incredibly powerful graphic chips, but it can be quite difficult to find games that actually take advantage of the hardware on offer. So I'm here to help. All games have been played and externally recorded on an iPad Pro 11-inch from 2021. Number 10, we have Battle Prime. There are many free shooters on the App Store, from COD Mobile, PUBG Mobile, Critical Ops, and Shadowgun Wargames, to name a few. However, for me, none of them come close to the graphical and fluid gameplay on offer with Battle Prime. Battle Prime offers 4 graphics modes. Favor Battery renders the game in a lower resolution and visual effects are turned off. Favor Performance renders the game in high resolution and only some visual effects are turned off. Favor Quality will provide near native resolution and will turn up all the visual effects and graphics quality to their max settings. All previous modes target 60 FPS, but high FPS will provide the highest frame rate possible on your device. So 2018 Plus models will get around 120 FPS because of their 120Hz displays. Battle Prime is supported on all iPad Pros. Number 9 is Layers of Fear. Layers of Fear is, without a doubt, the best horror game on the App Store, and also it provides a photo-realistic experience, albeit a hauntingly beautiful one at that. While the game contains all the same content as found on other platforms, PC and console, some sacrifices were made to get this running on iPhone and iPads. Layers of Fear on iPad Pro, for example, is capped at 30 FPS and has slightly lower graphics qualities enabled. Lighting and shadows are the most noticeable sacrifice. Thankfully, the game is running at a high resolution, so text is easy to read, which is important for this game, and textures in the scene are at a high quality too. If you're interested, Layers of Fear is supported on all iPad Pros. Number 8, we have XCOM 2 Collection. Feral Interactive recently updated this turn-based strategy game XCOM 2 with new optimization modes. Performance mode provides a higher frame rate, but outputs at a slightly lower graphical quality to achieve this performance. The 2020 and 2021 iPad Pros will get 40 to 50 FPS, while older models will get about 30 to 40. Energy saving mode reduces power consumption and heat output on your iPad Pro. And if you have a 2018 Plus iPad Pro, you can enable Graphics mode, which provides the best visual fidelity, but the game is capped at 30 FPS to achieve this. Under this mode, the colors are more vibrant, the environment shadows are higher, but there are still no unit shadows, which is disappointing. Foliage quality is a tiny bit improved. Textures are higher resolution, and depth of field is enabled. The game also works with a keyboard for shortcuts and panning around the map. XCOM 2 is supported on iPad Pros back to 2017. Number 7 is SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Some of you might be saying, SpongeBob? Really? A kid's game? On a list about graphics? Yes. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is actually a fairly advanced game to play on your iPad Pro. What you get here is a great looking 3D action game with advanced foliage quality, heaps of on-screen effects, great colors that pop on your iPad Pro displays, high resolution textures, good quality shadows, and the App Store version offers custom graphic options, unlike the PC version. iPad Pros, released since 2018, can easily play at epic quality with anti-aliasing and 60 FPS enabled, while older models are best to be played at high settings, but the game still looks really just as great. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is supported on all iPad Pros. Number 6, we have Journey. Originally released on PS3, Journey was fairly recently brought to the App Store. Playing this game on an iPad Pro is close to the PC version, especially if you have an iPad Pro released since 2018. You can play up to 120 FPS with very high resolution enabled. Journey is made by the same people behind Sky, Children of the Light. For me, this game is more visually impressive, despite being quite a bit older. It has insane lighting quality, much better sand rendering, a better implementation of motion blur, and as I said, a much higher frame rate for iPad Pros. It's also a console experience, while Sky is more tailored towards a casual gaming audience. Journey is supported on all iPad Pros. Number 5 is The House of Da Vinci 2. You might not think it, but many puzzle games have pushed the graphical limit of Apple devices for a long time. From Myst on Mac in 1993, with graphics that at the time were state-of-the-art, but static, to The Room on iOS devices in 2012 with its tactile 3D locations, and now The House of Da Vinci 2. The game goes even further with photorealistic locations to explore more freely, and in-depth puzzles to solve with complex animations. Not to mention, characters in the scene look far more detailed, and this may sound silly, but I love how you can see all the dirt and blemishes on the main character's hands. And all of this is presented at 120 FPS for iPad Pros with a 120Hz display. The House of Da Vinci 2 is supported on all iPad Pros. Number 4, we have Genshin Impact. Right now, Genshin Impact is the most visually advanced, free game that you can get on your iPad Pro, even if it provides an anime style. It has complex weather and day and night cycles, probably some of the best visual effects on this list. Foliage moves realistically, such as grass, as you make contact with it. And obviously, it has a stunning open world that feels very alive. Recently, controller support was added too, and it's been optimized really well. The major downside of this game is the poor performance on other devices, while iPad Pros can do a better job at handling higher quality graphics. While I have 60 FPS enabled here, this is just for demonstration purposes. I actually suggest you play at 30 FPS to avoid your device getting hot and to avoid big FPS drops. Of course, Genshin Impact is free, and normal free-to-play mechanics just don't translate well to AAA gameplay, so in many ways don't take the game too seriously and just have fun. Genshin Impact is supported on all iPad Pros released since 2017. Number 3 is NBA 2K21 Arcade Edition. For me, the NBA 2K games have never been on par with the PC and console version. However, this has all changed with NBA 2K21 on Apple Arcade. The game has much better motion capture, players are higher res and have been remodeled and retextured, and there is great reflection and lighting on the court. The only downside is that some of the spectators in the crowd do look pretty bad at times, but it's not always as noticeable compared to prior games. Plus, I believe this is an issue on any platform, it's just a little bit worse here. NBA 2K21 will also analyze your hardware and output the best graphics quality possible. On iPad Pros released since 2018, you can play at ultra-high graphics quality, and the game will still manage 60 FPS with no issues. Older devices may run at a slightly lower quality, but will still maintain 60 FPS. NBA 2K21 Arcade Edition is supported on all iPad Pros. Number 2, we have Grid Autosport. It baffles me how almost no other game on the App Store is still not on par with Grid Autosport. I'm talking in terms of its realistic racing simulation experience. The iPad Pro version of Grid Autosport is probably the best place to play this game. It includes improved lighting and reflection, real-time dynamic car shadows, enhanced particle effects, per-object motion blur and depth of field, and real-time car reflections. You can also switch between 4 graphics modes. Graphics provides the best visual fidelity at 40 to 30 FPS, depending on your hardware. Energy Saver reduces graphics quality and the frame rate is kind of similar, 30 to 40. This is all done to conserve battery. Performance provides 60 FPS gameplay, but graphics are a bit lower to achieve this. And Performance Plus provides 120 FPS gameplay only for iPad Pros released since 2018. If you're interested in the game, Grid Autosport is supported on all iPad Pros. Number 1, we have Dfinity Original Sin 2. All the games on this list have been visually impressive, yes, but honestly don't really come close to what is on offer with the RPG game Dfinity Original Sin 2. Almost no major sacrifices have been made to get this game running on iPad Pro. The latest iPad Pro, with the Apple M1 chip, runs the game at 60 FPS, almost native resolution and ultra settings. Older supported iPad Pros are capped at 30 FPS, but are not far behind graphically still, and are running at near native resolution. This game supports some seriously advanced tech. We're talking deferred render with pre-baked light probes and clustered lighting, spot and point light shadows, ambient occlusion, motion blur, bloom, depth of field, SMAA and FXAA aliasing based on your hardware, vignette, anisotropic texture filtering. I don't know how to say that name, I'm so sorry. And volumetric lights. If you want to see a full in-depth analysis of the iPad version for this game, check out my review via the card on screen. Dfinity Original Sin 2 is supported on all iPad Pros back to 2018. Here are some bonus games. The Pathless is one of the best looking games on Apple Arcade, but is sadly held back by terrible performance, even on these iPad Pros. I can't really recommend it until it is better optimized. The Pathless is supported on all iPad Pros back to 2017. The Elder Scrolls Blades has its issues, but we can't deny it's a pretty game. It has great lighting effects, from the reflections off the water, to the lighting bouncing off the walls and even your sword. Plus, the game offers a depth of field camera effect that lets you focus in on your action during combat. Blades is supported on all iPad Pros. The Witness is an open-world puzzle game where you can explore colourful and well-detailed environments. Don't get me wrong, it looks great on iPad Pro, but is actually quite downgraded from the PC and console version, to the point that it, well, ruins the experience a little, for me anyway. The Witness is supported on all iPad Pros. Sky Children of the Light is an open-world adventure that lets you explore large and beautiful locations with other players online. You should know why it's not on the main list if you watch the whole video. Sky is supported on all iPad Pros. The Gardens Between is running at pixel-perfect resolution on 2018 Plus iPad Pros and gets 60 FPS. It's an absolutely gorgeous puzzle adventure game. The Gardens Between is supported on all iPad Pros. What do you think of this list? Are you impressed or disappointed? There is so much potential on offer here for more AAA games on iPad Pro. It's up to developers to pay attention, but more importantly, for us to change our mindset of what we want to play on these devices. The more time we spend with premium paid games and not free-to-play games, the more serious this platform will look to Apple, developers, and fellow gamers. Anyway, leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date with everything Apple gaming related. My name's Stewie and thanks for watching.